My name's AnnMarie Gerhardt. Around here they call me Mama Dominic.
And what do you do?
So I'm a missionary here from America. I launched a new ministry upon the request of Chief Chipepo to come and work with the youth here in Chipepo Chiefdom. So I am the director of Truth and Light of Christ Ministries. We were founded in 2020 and we launched here in 2022 in Chipepo Chiefdom.
Who were the Tonga people? If I'm a stranger, how would you describe them? So in your answer, say the Tonga people.
The Tonga people of the valley they're a beautiful people group. They're kind, they're generous, they open their houses to you. They have a warm heart for Jesus. They're very welcoming. They are very strong in tradition. They respect their traditions and they hold it very highly. So they want to share it, their traditions and their history, and they want people to come in when they come here to respect it and know it.
What do you know about the history of the Tonga people? Can you give me a brief history of the Tonga people?
I'm just learning. So I'm learning as we go.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I'm only here a few years, so I know that they've been based around the coastline of the Zambezi River. A lot of them are here in Chipepo and have been shifted because of the dam, the Kariba Dam that's caused the flooding here in Lake Kariba. So I'm learning as I go.
What type of challenges do the Tonga people have?
Here in the valley, a lot of it has to do with the climate, the rains, the crops that they're growing. They've shifted about 40 years ago to grow maize instead of sorghum and millet and cassava, which were staple crops here. So they struggle because we're there's a lot of drought in the valley here. So there's not enough rains to sustain maize. And they've been struggling for the past 40 years with maintaining enough food. So we're trying to assist them in getting their indigenous seed back, going back to the indigenous crops. They used to be here in the southern province. They used to actually thrive. They were considered the breadbasket of Zambia and used to provide food not only for themselves but all of Zambia and the surrounding countries. Since shifting to maize, their food production has reduced greatly. So their biggest challenge, I think, right now is the lack of sustainable food due to not having enough irrigation to maintain the crops they've shifted to, like maize.
Some of the challenges that the Tonga people have to face.
So currently, some of the major challenges they're dealing with is we're coming out of El Nino, which is a major drought situation for us here in the valley. They have shifted to growing maize in the past 45 years, shifting away from millet, sorghum, and cassava, which are a little bit more of a drought-resistant, crop. And the maize requires more water. So last year we had, I think it was below 1% harvest rate for the whole area of their maize. Last year, I think we were at about 8%. It was definitely under 15% harvest rate. So the biggest thing right now is starvation. The shifting away from the indigenous crops and going towards the hybrid maize has really been causing an issue for starvation. The area used to be the most thriving area in all of Zambia and the surrounding countries. They used to provide all the food from this province to all of Zambia and the surrounding countries like Congo, Namibia, Angola, and now they can't even feed their families. So there's a real need for a shift to either go back to indigenous crops or get better irrigation solutions here to assist with the climate and the climate issues with the crops they want to grow here in the valley.
Is this What role are you playing in helping the Tonga solve their problems or challenges?
With regards to the crops, I'm working with several NGOs and the traditional leaders, and we're trying to get some programs started where we can get some of the indigenous seed. And we're asking some of the traditional leaders to designate between 5 and 20 hectares of irrigated land to dedicate just for seed regeneration for the indigenous seed, so that we can start repopulating the seed throughout the areas. Where I was assisting in some of the projects where we're trying to convert hand pumps into solar-powered water towers for irrigation, so that they can water their crops, and instead of just relying on rainy season, they can grow 2 to 3 crops a year, which will help sustain the food issues and keep the families going and get us out of this, drought, starvation period of time right now that they're going through.
I understand that your son is with you. What's the story behind Dominic coming to Africa? What's that all about?
So Dominic, when he was 6 years old, he really heard from God and came running up to me in church and said, "Mom, we're supposed to be in Africa sharing the gospel with the children." So by the time he was 8, he paved his way to get here. We came for our first trip to visit Zambia. We spent just about 2 months on the ground here in Chipepo. And after that, he didn't want to leave. He just kept wanting to come back. And we were able to make the shift here. We launched our ministry here in 2022. So we've been on the ground full time since he was 13. So he's here now. He's now working with the children, helping them with their writing for English words and helping them with their schooling. And then he's running Sunday school programs at church. So he's enjoying and thriving in what he wants to be doing.
What is the Zambian government doing to help the people?
So they're providing some
Say Zambian government, okay?
So the Zambian government is assisting with some feeding programs. They are assisting with some discounted maize to purchase. They're offering I think there's some situations where they're getting free distribution of maize. And then they're giving some money supplements to certain people that are in major need. They're also allowing some grants and loans to be applied for, where people can take that and put it towards irrigation purposes on their farms or in the communities, so that they can improve the situations a little bit better.
And what about some of the specifics of the Tonga organizations? What are they doing to resolve the problem?
For the irrigation, we are...
Just say the Tonga or whatever.
So the Tonga people here in the valley, they're forming cooperatives and applying for grants for the conversions. We have some that are taking the initiative to expand those into bigger projects, where they're lobbying to the government to put in the big irrigation pumps or the water pumps to provide running water to all of the people, not just the areas near the hand pumps. So this way that they'll have taps at each of the houses and have government supplied water, so they're not relying on the hand pumps anymore.
AnnMarie, what are you here for? Are you here? Do you have any role in helping the Tonga with their challenges?
So right now we're planning to build our ministry center, which is a youth-based ministry center to provide football ministry, Farming God's Way, and a ministry center where we'll do Bible study and teach them basic kingdom foundations in economics. We'll help them with some CDF funding to help them start some small businesses. I'm working with the youth now, where we're starting some clubs and applying for CDF funding and starting some small businesses to get them started. We're going to be starting with pig feed production, going into growing the business into piggeries and other agriculture avenues. So that's a focus now. We're launching a lighthouse project, which is GBV based for the gender-based violence, We're going to be supplying counseling, housing, education, skill sets, discipleship for the victims of GBV so that they can get a step up in life and give them an opportunity. So we're launching the Lighthouse Project this year through our cooperative of Transforming Lives Coalition. And then I'm working with some of the other NGOs that are doing agriculture, where we're reintroducing the indigenous seeds back into Zambia. So we're bringing the seed back in. We're trying to get some of the traditional leaders to allocate some land specifically for this reason, for seed regeneration. So between 5 and 20 hectares, depending on the chiefdom. We'll be focused on just regenerating the indigenous, it's going to be indigenous sorghum, millet, cassava, and maize, so that we can grow, because the indigenous maize is different from the GMO and the hybrid maize that they're buying right now. So it's all seed that is meant to grow in our climate here in the valley with the poor soil conditions and things like that. I'm working with another NGO where we're trying to bring in more irrigation. So there's a lot of drought here in the valley, especially, and there's a lot of water. There's a huge water aquifer under our feet, so there's a lot of water accessible to us underneath. So we need assistance in teaching them how to use the irrigation or convert their hand pumps into solar-powered irrigation so they can water their fields. And it'll assist them to getting out of the starvation situations that we've been in because of the drought.
Are there any, is the government contributing anything to this?
Yeah, they're offering...
Let's just say the Zambian government.
Yeah, there's some relief through programs like CDF.
Are you playing some type of role in helping them deal with their challenges and problems?
So here I've been working with the traditional leaders as of this year, and working with some of the other NGOs, and we're trying to bring back the indigenous seed. So we're trying to reestablish them by growing the seed in different areas so that we can start reintroducing it to the people's homes and fields so that they'd be able to have sustained farming.
Just hold on.